In this video, I'm going to share some tips and tricks on how to pay all your bills on time to make sure that you don't get late fees, to make sure that you have a really good credit score after keeping up with the strategies. On this channel, we talk about everything having to do with being organized, being efficient, being well planned, and of course, all those things revolve around money too, right? The more organized we are, the more we're on top of our bills, the more we plan, the more we budget, the better. So let's talk about strategy number one. My recommendation is you open a Microsoft Excel sheet or Google Sheets. Then what you want to do is create 12 tabs, one for each month. If you don't like to be like tech savvy, if you're not really a digital person, don't worry about it. Get yourself a notebook. Use one page for each month. Then what you want to do is write the bills that are reoccurring each month. Write the bills that come due maybe once a quarter, maybe once every 6 months. So for example, every month I have to pay my mortgage. That's something that I would write for every month, and I would write the amount. However, my car insurance only comes due once every 6 months. So I know it's January, I know it's July. Those are the months that I would go and put those in. So that way I know I need to make sure I pay them. One of the things that comes quarterly is we have a Fubo subscription for my husband. He likes to watch his sports on that. So that is quarterly. My second strategy is I pay all my bills at the first of the month. So even if they're due on the 15th, even if they're due on the 20th, always pay them on the first of the month. And I go and cross them off my list, whether I pay them online or pay them by sending the payment over the mail. I pay them at the first of the month and I'm done. I don't have to worry until the following month. Next strategy, I have money set aside for emergencies. And yes, sometimes emergencies do and will happen, as you know. For example, car stuff. Like my battery died, it was 2 months ago, and all of a sudden I had to come up with $230 to get it replaced. So I have like an emergency fund set up for that. My refrigerator broke and I had to have money set aside to get myself a new refrigerator. So whatever you do, have an emergency fund available for these types of things. The other strategy, if it's really hard to save, is to make sure that you do pay your bills on time, so that way your credit score can be high. A lot of places do offer 0% financing, like for example, Home Depot, Best Buy. So that way if something does break, like an appliance, you can go and get a new appliance and not have to pay for it for like 5 months, 6 months, or actually pay it off within that time, 0% interest. That way it's like the same as cash. Another strategy that I personally don't utilize, but I know people do, is to pay their bills a little extra. So like for their electric bill, for their gas bill, what they do is if the bill is for like $94, they would send like $104, because that way over a course of time, they develop a credit. And then let's say 1 month things are like really difficult for them, they can't pay, an emergency came up, at least they know that they have a credit, and so they can rely on that money to cover the bill. When it comes to credit cards, you want to pay them off as soon as possible. So, or combine balances into one card. That way you're like paying one bill and you're done. I do have some credit card debt right now, and it's just one card and I pay every month, and I have a strategy in place to pay it off in the next 3 years. When it comes to bills, you could sign up to receive email reminders. It's a really good strategy, but in order to utilize that properly, you have to make sure your inbox is clean and decluttered. So you can't have a full inbox. You have to go and delete emails, keeping only the things you absolutely need. So when you do get reminders, they are there and they serve as reminders that you have to pay those bills. With paper mail, like the bills that you get in the mail, have a designated place for them. So that way when they arrive, when your incoming mail arrives, you have a central place where they go. Like for me, I have my box right here behind me, and that's where we keep everything. And once a week I go through them and I know what I need to do. And I actually even have a folder that I use that says bills. And once a month, like throughout the month, I collect the bills that arrive. So as you could see, I do have some, but it's not the first of the month yet. When the first of the month hits, that's when all these will be paid. So if you notice, it's really all about strategizing and being organized. If I'm organized with my paperwork, with my emails, then I know whether a bill arrives to me electronically or in the mail. I have a system and I'm gonna make sure I pay them on time. Our credit score, mine and my husband's, have been really good the past at least 6-7 years because I've used these strategies to make sure that bills are paid on time, to make sure I don't have too much debt, and that way I can keep the credit score high. And it just helps with overall bills. When we tried to refinance to put a new roof, we needed a new roof for the house. It was so easy. It took us 2 weeks to go through the whole refinance process and get the cash that we needed for our roofing project. It was great, but that's because with money, I've learned to be super organized, and that way I can keep a good credit score. I can have money set aside for emergencies, and then I can get on top of it. I even have a book I published, and that's on being organized and efficient with personal finances. I will have the link to the book. It's really good stuff. It's a fast read. I will have the link in the description of the video that you can check out. That is all I have for this video. Please be sure to subscribe and I will catch you in the next one.